Hey everyone, totally forgot to film an intro before, but this is just a little chit chat. Get ready with me. I'm answering questions I asked on my Instagram, just a little about high school, that type of stuff. So yeah, hope you enjoy. Okay, my first question is, what is my favorite memory of high school? My favorite memory, I would say, was going to March for Our Lives in Washington, D.C. with 46 other students from my school corporation. That was just very fun. We raised all the money that we did to get there, and we've just been part of the movement. What is my least favorite memory of high school? Other than just being there, I think just the toxic people there that I went to school with, and then just the idea of school, waking up early and having to the structure, I think is just my least favorite part. Did I have any toxic people in my life? As I just said earlier, being around the toxic people, so yes. My freshman and sophomore year, I played volleyball, and I just felt never a part of the team. I wouldn't say none of them were ever just friendly to me, and none of them ever made an initiative to be one of my friends, because they were just all very cliquey, and so I think that just made the sport even harder for me, other than just also not being athletic. There's just those high school cliques. I just consider them toxic to me. Some of them I was really good friends with up until senior year, or I guess it was the end of junior year. They were just, none of them were just really nice to me on the last day. We all want to go to the lake after, and previously I've been oh, let's go get ice cream, blah blah blah. They were oh yeah, that sounds cool. And then it's the last day, and I'm hey, did we ever decide what ice cream parlor we're going to? And they're oh, well, we're going to the lake. And I'm where was my invite? Why wasn't I invited? There was a couple people in that group that are toxic. I'm just honestly not that close with them, so this isn't at them, but there was just other people in that group that I'm just I've just 100% cut them out of my life now. One of them I invited to my graduation party to be nice, but then I realized I was invited to theirs, so I uninvited them. I was just that petty, because I was I literally hope to never see you again in my life, so I don't care. Yeah, so it's just mainly that one group. I've unfollowed, or I haven't unfollowed them, I've muted them all on Instagram, and I unfollowed them all on Twitter. I literally have zero connection with any of them, just because it just made me so, I was just so hurt by the fact that they just ignored me. What subject did I struggle the most with? Finite. For those of you that don't know what it is, it's the worst math class that you will ever have to take ever. It was an IU credit release, or IU credit class, so it was the dual enrollment, so it was taught at my high school, but for IU credit. At IU, it has a 50% fail rate. So why do they keep it mandatory? I don't know, because no one needs to know any of it, but I just struggled a lot with that class, just because that just wasn't the side of my brain that I worked with that much. It was a lot of probability, and a lot of I guess there was a lot of life problems, but it's okay, this isn't the way you should go about it now, because just through technology and just through life, we've all kind of evolved by now. So the probability of X, Y, and Z, I can literally just put that in my calculator, or literally Google it, and I don't need to do these long ass matrices for no apparent reason. What teachers impacted me the most? Definitely my U.S. history teacher. I'm still super close to her with this day. We follow each other on Instagram, and I sent her my graduation announcement. She ended up moving, so I never got to see her senior year. Was literally my best friend throughout the entire junior year. It's always fun to talk politics with her. And I'd say another teacher that impacted me was my physics teacher. I will literally cry in his classroom every day, and he was just Anne, you're fine. You're doing okay. He was just such a nice person, and I will literally, he was just, I don't know, he's just that one teacher that that school year you're just you're my therapist for. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, but that was for sure my connection with him. I mean, it was in physics, so I got an A, and mainly because I cried to him all the time, and he'd be chill woman, you got this. And I'd be like, thank you. Super supportive during March for Our Lives, as was my U.S. history teacher, because like me and like my friends would just like be openly like upset about how our government was not doing anything, and they'd just be like, please change the world for us. Did I ever doubt my abilities? Absolutely. Entire like first semester of senior year, I just literally was just so upset with how I was doing, because I've never done that bad in school until that school year, because I was just taking a lot more harder classes, and then just the pressure of getting into college, and my SAT score was not where I wanted it to be. And so just that consistent frustration of like, okay, I know I have a very, very good GPA, but my score is not where I wanted at the school. So just getting in general, because I know some schools are super selective. And so just in my AP Gov class, there was a situation which I think kind of triggered it from like my senior year, like doubting, was that this girl in my AP Gov class was like talking about like what colleges she was like applying to, but she just like said this like one comment of like, if I don't get into Stanford, I'm just not gonna go to college. And just that was like also like in the middle of like, I don't know like what school I'm going to, I don't know if I'm going to get in. So just like with her saying that, I literally like left the classroom and just like cried in the bathroom for like 20 minutes. I like vividly remember doing that. And I like called my mom. She was just like, well, that's like the dumbest comment ever, like she's probably not going to go anywhere anyways. And she's not, or I don't think she is, because she was going to one school in California, and then she like took it out of her bio. And so now I don't know where she's going. She had like IU in her bio for a little bit, but then she took that back out. If don't make that comment, proof that like you don't know what other people's mental states are. So what you say can affect people without you even realizing it. So that's just proof to like, you know, watch your words, watch what you're saying. What are my next year plans? As of right now, I'm attending Illinois State University next year, and I'm actually really excited. Ironically, that was like the very first like school I applied to, because that was like my for sure safety school, and like it was just never like on my mind because I was so concerned about these other schools. But eventually it did have to come down to Illinois State or IU, and I just was not wanting to go to IU. I didn't want to follow in the pact of what everyone does at my school. There's just many toxic people that attend IU. This is just living near IU, so Illinois State could totally have these problems. I cannot be aware of it. IU has a tendency to like never address any of their like bad situations. Like, I know that's probably just for like purposes of like wanting to still look prestigious. There have been like a bunch of situations at IU where they've just never addressed anything. IU has a very bad sexual assault rate, and they've just never, I don't think they've ever done anything besides like put signs on bathrooms. Granted, I've also never gone to like IU, so they could do stuff with more of the students than just like townies. And then there was just also this situation where there was like a stabbing at a summer camp, and they were just like no comment because they don't want to have to look bad like it was their fault, even though if it happened on your campus, regardless of what the situation is. I think you should at least address the problem. And granted, Illinois State could 100% have these issues, and I just not be aware of it. That's just been my big main complaint, is that IU just consistently is just like, oh, no comment on these like very serious situations that like honestly like they can like make or break someone going there. And also just about IU was that I went on like a visit day there just to like see what it was, even though I know the campus like the back of my hand. When I was there, literally every other word out of every single IU person's mouth was Kelly School of Business. Oh, I'm in the Kelly School of Business. Kelly School of Business this, Kelly School of Business that. I was gonna be in SPIA, which is like, okay, that's like an amazing, like it's #1 like public affairs like school. Like that's something to be proud of, and they never once mentioned it until I got to like my SPIA session, and like the SPIA people were like, yeah, hi, like we're all good of it. And I'm like, why doesn't anyone else tell you this? Like their media school, I'm pretty sure is like pretty decent and up there, but Like, never once talked about that. If I was to be a student there, just that experience alone made me feel like everything around that school would have been Kelly, even though as someone who's like lived in around the IU campus most of her life, she knows that's not, but as a prospective student, that's what it made it look like, and I was just not happy with that. Other question is, do I plan to talk to the people I went to high school with? I plan to talk to the people that I like. I have, like, obviously Paul and Josh, who you saw in one of my last videos. Like, obviously for sure them, like, I'm going to, like, hang out with them sometime next week before I leave. Like, my best friend Abby, like, I love her to death. Like, the theater people that I liked, like Anna and Sylvia. Basically, if you were a good human to me, I'm willing to put the effort into talking to you. Otherwise, no. What was the biggest drama I was a part of? I would say me cutting off all those people from my life that I talked about earlier. I think they were all just, like, kind of like, why is Anne being like this? And I'm like, you should know what you did. I'm not, like, going to sit you down and be like, oh, like, and like have you like try to explain to yourself like why you were just not polite to me and why you were just willing to cut me out on that day. It was senior year, so just recently. During our musical, one of the people was sexually harassing and assaulting other members of the cast, and he had to get kicked out. And just, I wouldn't say that was drama, but that was just like having to see all, like, it was never impacted on me, but just seeing like all my like super close friends going through that, like, that just made me sad. He didn't know what I knew, so I think like when I was like kind of ignoring him, he was just like, why aren't you like talking to me? The best and worst teachers, obviously the ones that impacted my life, so that was like my physics teacher, my US history teacher, my econ teacher. He also very much impacted my life. He's a very nice person. I loved him. I'm very sad I only got him for one semester, but if I had to pick a teacher to end my senior year with, it was him. And I needed that comfort in my life. The worst teacher I think I ever had was my Algebra 2 teacher. I consistently felt she was not letting us use our First Amendment right, which is freedom of speech. Because if she like just didn't agree with something we were saying, she would just like yell at us and just not let us talk. And it's like, okay, well, these are like, I respect other people's opinions, but like, you can't shun me for not agreeing with mine. Moment that I just like didn't like nothing really happened, but there's just that like gut feeling when you know. I had, okay, backstory behind what it is. The Parkland students had that $5 tag at the March for Our Lives, made one for every state, so my state had one. I had it on my backpack from like us doing the April 20th walkout to show my support for saying like, hey, I support this cause. And there was just one day she like asked like, what is it? And I like explained to her like, oh, it's like the amount of money that the NRA has divided by how many like students there are in my state. And she just kind of just like gave me a look of like, you have got to be kidding me, like that's what it is. And judgmental look of like, you're never gonna achieve anything. Like that's just what I felt like. Honestly, she could have been thinking a total different thing, but I just vividly remember that moment and her just being like, oh. And just the way she said, oh. Best and fave classes. Honestly, up until finite, I was always very good at math. I enjoyed Algebra 1 because I had one of my other teachers was in there, and I just loved her. That's the teacher I mentioned in my One Direction video that I like consistently cried of. I had her senior year for pre-calc as well, first semester, and I just loved her. She was great. She like came to my grad party. She's still by far one of my favorite people ever. But like my other favorite teachers were like my physics teacher, basically the teachers that impacted me. I never really had a bad teacher, but there was teachers that was like, I just don't enjoy your class, but you're a cool person, I respect you, except that Algebra 2 teacher. But like my German teacher, she was like a great person. I just didn't put effort in that class, so that's all on me. Anyways, that's it for today's video, guys. This is just basically my like everyday makeup look. Hang on, actually I have to brush my hair. But yeah, that's just some little tea on my life and people I went to school with. I'm very excited for college. So yeah, I hope you have a great day. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Just kidding, I'm back. I really want to flex right now.